Welcome to Debbie's Divinely Healthy Kitchen, where we're going to make a really healthy whole food dessert today. It's a blueberry pear crisp. Sometimes I use peaches with the blueberries, sometimes I use pears, but as you can see, my pears have seen better days. They're starting to turn color a little bit, so it's time to use these puppies up. So I'm going to slice in pears. I leave the skin on the pear because it's so much healthier to eat the skin, lots of nutrients in the skin itself. So why do we always tend to peel the fruit first? I have no idea, but I'm gonna cook as healthy as possible, get all the nutrients that I can possibly get in all the dishes I make. This dish has no refined sugar, no refined flours, lots of whole grains, of course, fruit. We're gonna use a little bit of pure maple syrup to add a little bit of sweetening, but it's gonna have some oats, some almond meal on the topping. Gonna be so yummy. So right now I'm just gonna cut up this fruit. If there are any bad spots in the pears, I'll just get rid of that. But otherwise, I'm gonna leave the skin on. I've already got about 6 cups of blueberries in my bowl here, and I've already sprinkled in a little bit of cornstarch, about 1/3 cup of cornstarch, just to thicken it up a little bit as it's baking in the oven. So let me continue slicing away my pears, and then we'll mix up the topping. Okay, we are finished. We have mixed our blueberries and our pears and the cornstarch and put it in a 13x9 pan that I've greased with a little bit of olive oil. And now for the topping, which is the yummy part. But traditionally, most toppings for crisps use a lot of granulated sugar, refined flour. We're trying to eat whole foods, which is so healthy, you know, kind of the way God intended food to be before we even started messing with it. So what I'm going to be using for the topping is 2 cups of oats. I'm going to add a cup of crushed walnuts. Nuts are so healthy for us, all those omega-3s. And then I'm also going to add a cup of almond meal, which is basically finely ground almonds. Again, super healthy. And almond flour or almond meal is basically like adding flour, but it's just so much healthier. It's nuts. So about a cup of almond meal. Now I'm going to add, instead of butter for the crisp, I'm going to put about 1/2 cup of olive oil. I know, but it's gonna taste yummy. It is gonna taste so yummy. And then the only sweetener I'm gonna use is pure maple syrup. About 1/2 cup of that. So we'll add that to our mixture of the olive oil. And I'm gonna go ahead and toss this all. Well, you know what I'm gonna do first? I've learned to add all of the dry ingredients first. So I'm going to actually add a little bit of cinnamon. I usually just sort of guesstimate, but for your benefit, I'll actually measure. I would say maybe I add about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon in here. So we'll go ahead and add 2 teaspoons roughly of cinnamon. And the reason why it's good to add the dry ingredients first is so that you don't have them all sticking to the olive oil in little clumps. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of salt too. Usually I don't really measure these things, but I'll go ahead and measure them for you. I'm guessing about a teaspoon of salt or something like that. Pretty close to a teaspoon. And now we'll go ahead and stir up our dry ingredients. Get that all distributed pretty evenly, and then we'll go ahead and add our olive oil maple syrup concoction that's gonna make it turn into a crispy, sweet delight. But again, so healthy. No refined sugar, no refined flour, lots of nuts and fruit and whole grains. So good for us. You're probably wondering how many calories and that kind of thing in this particular dish. Well, for this blueberry pear crisp, using all the ingredients that you've seen here, if we have 12 servings out of this large dish, which you can definitely do 12 servings, it'll be 271 calories per serving. But again, no refined sugars and no refined flours. And I'm telling you, in our household, we've been eating this way for quite a long time now, and we have lost some serious weight. We are feeling so much better. Early onset arthritis seems to have disappeared. I'm just saying. I'm not a doctor, I'm just saying these are the results that we've experienced, and just feeling so much better as we eat foods the way that God made them before we stripped out nutrients or we added all sorts of weird chemicals and things we don't even know what they are, right? Can you see this forming? It's our nice topping. That cinnamon adds just a nice flavor as well. As soon as this is mixed up, which I think it pretty much is, I'm just gonna go ahead and start kind of plopping on top of this. We'll bake this in the oven. Well, if you're using frozen blueberries, I should say that we should bake it about 50 minutes in the oven at 350. If you're using fresh blueberries, probably 40 minutes is going to be adequate for you. You're going to love it. By the way, the recipe is available at faithplace.org. just click on the Healthy Living tab and you can print that out for yourself at no cost. Again, that's faithplace.org and click on the Healthy Living tab. You'll find some other whole food recipes there as well. All right, here we are. It should be nice and crispy and beautiful, and it is the finished blueberry pear crisp. It's gonna be so tasty. Remember, you can find the recipe at faithplace.org. Just click on the Healthy Living tab and join me next time in Debbie's Divinely Healthy Kitchen.